Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sessions Cafe. I'm your host, Keri Singleton, and today we have a special guest, my buddy Josh Kraft, and we're here at his campaign office in my hometown of Roxbury, Massachusetts, in the great city of Boston. How are you, man?
Keri, I'm great, but I'm always better when I'm getting to hang out with you
man.
and talk shop with you.
You are definitely a politician.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding, man.
Celebrating Roxbury, your hometown,
Yes.
with this awesome shirt
Yes.
that you designed and
I
gave
did,
me.
yeah.
So thank you.
Well,
my friend.
actually, my buddy
A P. Lee
Productions. There
P.
we go.
Lee Productions.
Yeah.
But
Right there. The logo is right there so you can see it. Yeah, he designed the shirt. I just gave him the idea. And I'm here at the Roxbury Unity Parade in Roxbury. And I wanted to definitely stop by Josh's campaign office and just, shoot the breeze with you, man.
I appreciate it,
Yeah.
Keri. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Grateful. Always great to have you here, your mom with us, and in the office here in Nubian Square.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're in your hometown of
Yeah.
Roxbury.
Yeah.
And, I've spent a lot of hours in this community, many days and years, and it's great to be able to have you come by the office.
Thank you. I'm really honored to be here, man. A couple of things. So, I mean, you're in the race for mayor of the city of Boston. You decided to go large or go home.
Yeah.
What
yeah.
made you decide that you wanted to be the next candidate to run the city?
Well, Keri, as you know, I've spent 35 years working in the neighborhoods of Boston and Chelsea, and so many great experiences. But the greatest thing, and in those 35 years, I've got to work with so many great people.
Yeah.
Not just work with them, listen to them, and learn from them. And they've taught me about their hopes, their challenges, they've taught me about resilience. But the most important thing they've taught me about is the power of people to come together around an important issue, and how that power of community can make change for the better for everybody. And those are the folks that inspire me to run for mayor of Boston, because they've inspired me my whole career and pushed me to do more and make communities stronger, and that's what they're doing now.
Now, I know a lot of cities across the country, one of their top priorities is safety, right? And I know that a lot of cities administrations feel that the quick fix to dealing with crime in some of our nation's cities is incarceration or hiring more cops. Now, you had a different approach, and this is one of the things that I really admired about you when I first met you a couple of years ago, is that you had a different approach to dealing with crime, which was to provide opportunities for formerly incarcerated people. Because at the end of the day, most people that are incarcerated, I don't think a lot of people understand, are coming home.
Yes.
And so I think it's really, really important that we, provide a place for them in society. And tell me about how you were creative in doing that way before this mayoral campaign.
So, Keri, first thing I'll say is, I think after the police department, the greatest tool we have to keep our city and streets safe is our reentry community.
Yes, sir.
Because they're passionate, they're committed, and they understand people that might be going through the same thing as them as young people.
Right.
They know how to communicate with them, talk to them, and they know how to keep things in check. And that's so important, because I've learned so much from the reentry community. And as you said, one of the things that I'm most proud of that myself and my family's been associated with was a program called Operation Exit.
Right.
Young adults coming out of prison that were gang involved or in there for violent crimes, they were funneled into union training programs. And what we found is 85+% stayed out of prison.
Wow.
And the great thing about these training programs is it wasn't just a job, it was people could get a career. And they could see every step they took, more money in their bank account. The ability to buy a home, the ability to provide for their kids. I know one young man was quoted actually in the New York Times. They did a story about the program, and he said, "Look, I can buy my kids' uniform for school. I can buy a car to get him to and from school, and I can get to job, and I'm going to get a house. And these are the things that might seem small for folks, but for folks looking to get their foothold back in community, back in society, these are powerful tools. And Operation Exit created that.
Yeah, excellent, man. I'm glad that you were able to share that story. I don't think you're given an opportunity to talk about that particular project that you took on, and I just wanted to give you an opportunity to share that. Let's shift gears a moment. I never had the opportunity to meet this wonderful woman, but I've heard so many great things about her, including from my own mom. Talk to me about your mom.
All right, Keri, thank you. And do you know what's crazy? Today is the anniversary of her passing 14 years ago. So I'm glad. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah.
You know, my mother was one of those folks who didn't tell you what she was going to do. She just showed you. It wasn't about talk and fancy talk and slide decks. It was about action. And she instilled that in her kids. Especially, she instilled the value of community. You know, first with the Jewish concept of tikkun olam, repair the world. You don't have to finish the work, but that doesn't mean you can ignore the work and not do the work. Second, she used to say to us, you know, your worst day is most people's best day. So you made sure that targeted communities are protected and safe, but also have access to opportunity, because then you will build true equity and true community.
My mother speaks very highly about your mom, as I just said. And one of the things that she says about your mother is that she was so extraordinarily generous. And I feel that you have definitely been blessed with that attribute. How does that work for you in terms of what the things that you've done for the boys clubs prior to your mayoral campaign?
Yeah, and my mother was very generous, and to her was, again, that access to opportunity. You know, obviously support people, but it's not about giving them something tangible. It's giving them something that can help them achieve. And so you give them the first couple steps, and 6 months later they're sprinting. So, and that was the great thing about Boys and Girls Club. First of all, it was equal. And I think back, you know, every kid who walked in had access to the same opportunities as the kid they walked in there with. And I always think of our Charlestown Club. You know, at the holiday time, they'd have a big, you know, Christmas or a holiday celebration, and there'd be kids decorating cookies. One from the Bunker Hill housing development, the biggest housing development in New England, next to a kid whose parents own a $5 million townhouse that they paid for in cash. But they're doing the same thing. But that's the true essence of community and bringing people together. And at the Boys and Girls Club, I loved that, but then also providing that access to opportunity. It was access to educational support, whether it was homework support, how to make the steps to go to college, how to take the steps to go to vocational school, you know, post-high school vocational schools. You know, just creating pathways to opportunities that you don't just give, but you let the kids see how they can attain them with love and support.
Right. I know something else that's extraordinarily important to you, and that you've been very, very helpful with me dealing with my fear of is cancer. And so I wanted to talk to you about the importance of men's health.
So, as we talked about, I had prostate cancer. I had my prostate removed, and then 18 months later I had to be retreated with hormone therapy and radiation. But the way they found it was my PSA. So you got to get that PSA checked. And funny, mine didn't even have that. Wasn't that high a number. It was still at a low number, but my doctor said, you're still at a safe number, but the increases over the last 2 or 3 tests, you should address that. So we addressed it, and it was good because I had prostate cancer. So, you know, who knows? Back in the day, they might have said, you're fine, you're fine. And then it would have been, because prostate cancer, as we've talked about, is if you get it early, it's curable. if you get it later, you can live with it for a while, but eventually you're not going to stop it.
And isn't it interesting, Josh, that there are certain things in our world that kind of neutralize all of us. One could say that music is something that we all love and experience, but so isn't, health woes.
Mm-hmm.
And I say all that to say that a person's wealth, a person's education level, a person's status in life, none of that protects them from getting sick or whatever. So what kind of advice would you give to men in terms of taking care of their health? What are some of the...
It's just a priority. As we've talked about, Keri, in our many discussions, health is wealth.
Exactly.
So you can't take it for granted, because once you don't have good health, nothing else matters.
Right, exactly.
Your jobs, your dating life, or what you have, the car you drive, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Once you don't have good health, none of that matters.
Mm-hmm.
So health is true wealth. And an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Mm.
So just stay in front of it. Prevent, monitor, make sure you're always taking care of yourself. And that's the trick. And men shouldn't be afraid to ask questions, especially around prostate cancer and other men's health issues. Don't be afraid, because everybody goes through it.
Right. Or will.
Or will go through it. Yeah.
What's some of the things that you're most proud of, including your daughter's musical aspirations?
Oh, yeah. Well, my daughters, I'm so proud of both. My younger daughter works actually for a program that does education for people that are behind the wall. PD Green, yeah. So they do tutoring and high-set tutoring and GED tutoring. And she loves it. She worked directly with inmates, and now they've moved her to the fundraising side. Second, I shouldn't say inmates, that's the one. She worked directly with folks that were incarcerated. I apologize, didn't mean to say that. And then the second is my other daughter. She's out in LA. She has a degree in music therapy, but she also performs around LA. When she's here in Boston, she performs around here. BeccaHannahMusic.com, and check her out.
Okay. Who's your favorite sports team?
The Patriots.
I was just asking. Just asking.
New England Patriots, but I love all Boston teams. Bruins, Celtics, Red Sox.
Okay.
Revolution to the soccer.
Yeah, that's a soccer team.
Yeah.
What do you know about that soccer team? Are they connected?
Yeah, they're connected.
I know. And lastly, it could be a political piece of advice. It could be a personal piece of advice. It could be something that you want to share with other people. What are some things that you'd love to say to people that don't know you personally, that may never get an opportunity to meet you personally? What's some advice you'd like to give them?
So I've tried to live my life by the things my mother, what I talked about my mother. Don't talk about what you're going to do, show people what you're going to do. And if you really want to learn or make a difference, you listen and learn from everyone. I don't care if they're a CEO of an international multi-billion-dollar company or someone struggling with substance use disorder. Everybody has something to teach you, so listen to everybody.
Right. Well, I listen, and that's why I get a PSA every 3 months. No, I'm just kidding. Better safe than sorry.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm very grateful for our friendship, man, and I appreciate you. I wish you the best in just whatever it is that you want to do, politically, and otherwise. One of the things I admire most about you has nothing to do with any of your professional attributes. It has everything to do with your heart and your passion for helping people. I love that about you, and I'm very proud to call you a friend.
Well, thank you. I feel the same way about you. I'm proud to call you a friend. I'm glad we've built this relationship.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming into the campaign headquarters today.
Thank you. It was a blessing to be here. Special episode of Sessions Cafe TV show here with Josh Kraft at his campaign office here in Boston, Massachusetts. We'll see you next time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sessions Cafe. I'm your host, Keri D. Singleton, and today we welcome my brother from another mother, Mr. Michael Reid. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Great to have you here. It's great to have you here. I owe my career to you, brother. I owe my career to you. So you are an executive producer for NYC Live at Fashion Week, and also a publicist.
Yes, sir.
And I would know because you were my publicist for many years when I was hosting the Keri's Corner radio show.
Correct.
We'll get into that. But let's start by talking about your company, which was founded in Los Angeles, even though you're from New York, and we'll get into that as well. Exposure Entertainment Incorporated, and that was founded in 1993 back in LA.
Correct.
Okay. Talk to me about that.
At the time, I was living and working in Southern California, in Burbank, California.
Okay.
And where I was working at Federal Express, I would actually have a chance to kind of travel around from city to city, going to events like the NBA All-Star Weekends, Super Bowl weekends, and fly back to LA where I was actually residing. And eventually during my travels, I said, you know what, I want to do something different. I was going to like NBA All-Star Weekends and seeing people there, and they were like, why don't you try to bring some of your work here to this market here? And I said, yeah, but I live on the West Coast. And they were like, well, hey, man, try to come up with something. And therefore started there in LA versus in New York where you're from.
Right.
And I said, okay. So in the summer, July of 93, one of my buddies, Marvin, co-worker at FedEx, said, man, why don't you come up with something cool and just give it a great name? So I didn't know at the time. So he came up with this, the word exposure. He said, spell it differently, X-P-O-Z-U-R-E. And he said, since you do a round of things, you do film, you do television, you do comedy, you do music, you do sports, and just put it all under the umbrella Exposure Entertainment, and it was just born from there, and it just went on from there. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. You were raised in Harlem, though.
Yes.
So how did you make your way from New York City all the way to the other side of the country?
Interesting dynamic. I graduated from high school in '87, JFK High School in the Bronx, and right after high school, I literally turned down 4 Division I schools to go to college. One of them was Florida A&M, Tallahassee, Memphis State, Tennessee, Tulane University in New Orleans, and also Clemson, South Carolina, my dad's home state. And right after I graduated from high school in June of '87, I said, I started thinking about West Coast stuff. And my brother, who was a retired naval commander in San Diego, said, hey, man, come out here to the West Coast. Leave all those schools alone. Just come to LA. And I said, okay, fine. So in the spring and summer of '87, I turned all of them down. I just said no letters of intent. And I actually stayed out of school for a full year. Out of high school.
How did your parents feel about that?
My dad wasn't too happy.
Yeah,
he said, either you're going to go to work, you're going to get a job, or you're going to go into service like, everybody else was.
Right.
So I stayed out. So from that summer, fall, and into the winter of '88, going into the beginning of '88, so the winter of actually '87 going to '88, I applied to 5 schools in California. I got accepted to 1.
Wow.
And when I got my letter of acceptance back in December of '87, I said, okay, I'm going to go out there next fall. So I ended up moving out there in September of '88, a week after my birthday, my 20th birthday. And that's when I said, okay, I wanted to kind of like see what life had to offer on the West Coast. Plus, I had my brother in San Diego.
Right.
But my parents weren't too happy.
Right.
But it was a different take. I mean, growing up in Harlem, and learning how things were done here and on the East Coast, I just wanted to try something new and different.
Yeah.
Plus, it was kind of like independence.
Right.
And
Absolutely, of course.
once I moved out there and I saw things that I had never seen growing up in New York City, I was just sold.
Yeah.
So I lived out there nearly 7 years until June of '95 when I moved back here to New York. Yeah.
I know you have a passion for event planning.
Yes.
Lord knows you've given some lavish and well-attended anniversary parties for both of my novels, The Wanderer's Game,
Yes.
as well as Idle, when it was released in 2016. Where does your flair for planning events like that come from?
I started out when I was a kid watching my dad put together bowling tournaments. My dad, bless his soul, was an avid bowler.
Yeah.
And as a child growing up in the '70s and therefore traveling around with my dad to various bowling alleys in the New York area, Pelham Park lanes, Gun Post lanes in the Bronx, ballpark lanes right across from Yankee Stadium. I used to watch, he was the president of a bowling league.
Okay.
And he would take myself and my sister out to his tournaments around the city, and also when he would actually travel, he said, son, sit here and watch. So I was always considered John Reed's son, following in his dad's footsteps, and they say, hey, Dad, show me.
People just don't get it, man. It's not easy to put on an event. You always make it look easy. My mind goes back to the Wanderer's Game stage play party. So a couple years back, my first book, The Wanderer's Game, was created, was actually made into a Broadway stage play
Yes.
by our good friend Alve Alexander. Wonderful, wonderful sister, multi-talented. She took on my book project, created a stage play with a plethora of actors, and you were responsible for the pre-play release date party.
Yes.
Fantastic event on a rooftop in Manhattan.
Still have memories of it. It was great. It was
my
great.
mom was there. She had a great time.
Yeah.
When you do events like that, I want to assume, I'm going to ask you, but I assume that the reward for all of the hard work for booking the venue, booking the caterer, booking the DJ, etc., comes about after it's over.
Execution.
Execution.
Putting an event together from concept to strategizing, day of, making sure everything is organized, everything is from the conception to execution is pretty much my focus. Speaking of Alve, Alve and I, we go back 19 years.
Wow, I didn't know
first
that.
met her back in May of 2006.
Okay.
I consider her like a big sister.
Absolutely.
And anytime I've done an event with her, or she's done an event with myself, or we've done events with others, any sort of collaborations, it's always like we've always seen eye to eye. So when I approached her about what you were doing with the Wanderers game, she said, let me put an adaptation to therefore make it go from a screenplay that you would see on TV or in film to the stage.
Right.
And once I started seeing how those castings went and the auditions, and I started seeing how the scenes played out, I said, let's put together a pre-release party.
Right.
And when we did that party and I saw, people just show up, I mean, we had lines out the door
Lines
trying to
out
get
the
in.
door, right,
and
yeah.
folks were just like relaxing. And me, I'm just working the room, make sure
Right.
everybody's in, where they need to be, placement, the step and repeat wall, drinks were flowing, people were dancing. And I just had the management of that particular venue say, hey, man, I didn't know it was going to be like this.
Right, yeah.
And it's just, hey, it's all about, what you know, who you know, and how well they know you.
Right.
So I was happy to do for it. Your relationships are very key.
Yeah.
So I had the opportunity to therefore say, okay, that's just one notch taken care, especially making sure that your release was well received.
Yeah.
Those who had participated, from the actors to those who were actually part of the writing team, for those who actually were part of the coverage, the press and media coverage of it. That to me was, fulfilling at the end of the day. It was tiring, but it was fulfilling when I saw it all pretty much come to its, fruition. That to me was important.
Yeah, man, you did a phenomenal job, and that set the stage, no pun intended, for the play itself, which was, again, you organized that. You organized the structure of how things would run that evening, and I mean, again, it was phenomenal. That seems to be your thing, man. Although I think your shining light is NYC Live at Fashion Week. That is your baby.
That's my
pot
pot of gold there.
We have it coming up September 16th.
Yes.
Yeah, but let's talk about NYC Live at Fashion Week, and because you've done that event in LA and in Paris, right?
Yes.
As well as here in New York City. Now, New York City Fashion Week is like, I dare say, Fashion Week. It's not even a week. It's like a month.
It used to be 8 days.
Yeah.
Then they started reducing over the years to 7, then 6. Now it's actually 5.
Oh, I didn't. Okay.
September
I stand
11th through the
corrected.
16th. Yeah, our event is on the closing night of Fashion Week, Tuesday, September 16th. Yeah.
Now, how did you get involved with? What made you decide that you wanted to initiate a fashion show of that
Caliber? It goes back nearly 40 years. 40 years ago, July of '85, I was 17 and I started in fashion. And I was pretty much something that was captivated. At the time, we had icons like Cindy Crawford, Elle McPherson, Naomi Campbell. I go back even further than that, Cheryl Teagues, and also Beverly Johnson and Lauren Hutton, and back in the 70s. But as a man, I was like, okay, I got to find a different twist to it, because there wasn't enough really work for guys. Everything was catered towards, the female side, women's side. But I said, okay, I'll get involved to some degree or another, but it wasn't like in front of the camera. I want to be behind the camera. But then again, that event marketing, that management, that building of something was something that I had more of an interest in. So I was actually, doing the production assistant work, and going to get the donuts, going to get the scripts, going to set the stage, get the lighting, get the sound, get the talent, get the press, auditions, fittings, castings, execution, day of show, post, show parties.
Yeah.
It was something I really fell in love with, but it was work, but it was fun.
Right.
And when NYC Live, was born, believe it or not, and you, of course, some of the characters involved, what I'm about to say, I worked on many productions, both here in New York and other cities. in other countries.
Right.
And I said, it was time for me to start my own.
Right.
And back in the fall of 2014, I had just come back from Paris, doing Paris Fashion Week in October 2014. And I said, okay, it's time to therefore launch a brand. And I went to my mentor at the time, you're probably familiar with Andre Kino of Couture Fashion Week. I had already been working with him since '09 for like 11 seasons, which spans about 6 years, 2 seasons per year. Wow. And I went to him in January 2015. I said, look, man, I want to start my own show. He gave me his blessing. He said, but under one condition. I said, what? He said, under my umbrella. So, he said, okay, when do you want to do the date? And coincidentally, the NBA All-Star Weekend was next month in New York, February 2015. And I said, look, man, I need a night. I need a slot. And at the time, he was doing 3 days, 3 shows a day, 4, 6, and 8 p.m., Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He gave me my slot, 8 o'clock. You were there on Friday evening, February 13th of 2015, and that was the launch. And we've been doing it 16 seasons. Well, we've done it 16 seasons over a 10-year span. Yeah, we missed a couple of seasons here or there because of pandemic. Right. But also, I had chosen at some point in the fall of 2023, I said, okay, let me hold off and expand and take NYC Live at Fashion Week abroad. Right. So at the beginning of the calendar year 2024, I said, all right, y'all, we're going to therefore take NYC Live at Fashion Week, the brand, outside the United States. Right. And we chose to do the Summer Olympics in Paris last August. So when we did that event August 9th, and of course, won rave reviews, I said, okay, now going into the beginning of this year, 25, we went back to Paris 7 months after the fact, and we did a show back in Paris during Paris Fashion Week, this time on calendar, on March 7th, and we'll be back again on October 3rd, only 17 days after September 16th in New York.
You're working a lot.
Yeah.
And I know DJ Unique.
He's been there ever since 2006, both Paris as well as New York.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have a solid team. We got about a minute left, man. What can we look forward to on September 16th at NYC Live at Fashion Week?
Well, September 16th holds a very unique place in my heart. My mom, who had passed away nearly 3 years ago in April of 2022, her 80th birthday is September 16th. And I had known about that day for quite a number of years, and I said, to honor her the right way, to close out Fashion Week, which we've been known for doing over the years, I wanted to come back after nearly 2-year absence in New York and do something on her birthday to commemorate it in the right way. So for me, that has a special place in my heart for September 16th, and I want to see everything done well. So I want to make sure everything from start to finish is in a manner for which is a dedication to her. Yeah. And speaking of execution, I won't settle for anything less.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mom wouldn't hear of it.
Correct.
And Mom deserves it.
Yeah.
Before we roll out, what information do you have to give out to people who want to attend the event?
Okay. Well, the event will be held at the Flatiron Studio, located at 50 West 17th Street. Our tickets went on sale back on July 14th. Right now we have about 33 days left. Okay. Between now and then.
And how can we get tickets?
Tickets, you could go to Eventbrite. The event is called NYC Live at Fashion Week Spring Summer 2026. Okay. Or you can go to my website. We have a website called www.nyclive@fashionweek.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be there. I can't wait to see the fashion family. And I appreciate you for being on the show, brother.
Very welcome. Thank you.
Always welcome to come back.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We'll see you next time.